Like these lights will go off and somebody will talk.
Or they're gonna leave one little piece and then have to clean it up.
So yeah, we're fit ready. Tires is what gets us a lot of time. The engineer, the driver, all the way from medical to fire. It'll tell us, and those can be stabilized. And once we get them stabilized, we can use them.
Oh, it's a training montage?
Pretty much.
We should have a Alright! Oh my god, I like breaking down, y'all. This is so fun. Are you ready?
She has the right idea with that camera in her hand.
If we're not using that, all the dirty dishes placed in this room, don't put on wall up. And if you look at that, they'll use their tractors.
Been did in 1989. By a guy named Dow Mountain. Started building a company. His first big plant was Albertson. And they distribute to like Japan, China.
Again, this is a short version of the intended length of the video, which will be a little longer for the purpose of this meeting. But as you can see, this year's MIAC students brought incredible energy and creativity and willingness to the program. We're so thankful for their cooperation and willingness. They're all really engaged with extracurricular activities outside of school. So it really does take a lot from them to also compromise their time or volunteer for city events and be part of this advisory board. We'd like to recognize each of them individually for their participation. So at this time, we'll begin the recognition ceremony. Mayor, if I could have you come over to this side so that you can take pictures with them after I hand them their signed recommendation letter from you and their certificate of recognition. I'll start naming them, they'll come over, take a picture, and then at the end, I'll call them back again for them to take a group picture and so that we can end our ceremony. Let me see. Susie, are we ready? Okay. So our first student is Abigail Brianna Camp. Picture here. Next, we have Alana Rendon. Angelina Griffiths. Ann Nunyan. Ibrahim Al-Mumin. Isabella Evelyn Mayer. Jesse Garcia. I do want to make it noted too that Jesse was part of our last year's class, and he was one of the students that contributed to the recommendations made for this year. And Marco Antonio Terán de la Rosa. Nivek Solis. Rain Queen Steek. And last but not least, Xavier Valenzuela. We did have a couple other students who unfortunately couldn't make it, including Hong Lam and Adrian Valenzuela. At this point, I'll call our group that's waiting outside to come for a group picture with our mayor. If you could, thank you, Stan. Follow me on this end. Thank you so much. I got you.
I want to thank Louisa and Maria for organizing that. They put in tons of work, hours of work on this, and a fantastic group of kids. So congratulations to them, and thanks for their hard work as well. Next up, 3C, American Public Works Association recognition. Susie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The City of Saginaw Public Works Department is proud to recognize that our organization has achieved accreditation from the American Public Works Association, a prestigious honor awarded to public work agencies that demonstrate full compliance with nationally established best management practices. This achievement is a result of years of dedication, teamwork, and strong commitment to public service. From operations and maintenance to strategic planning and community engagement, every facet of the organization was evaluated against APWA's high standards. Through APWA's rigorous accreditation process, the City of Saginaw Public Works Department demonstrated adherence to more than 389 best practices in public works management, proving its dedication to transparency, innovation, and continuous improvement. On behalf of the American Public Works Association, the City of Saginaw has the honor to be presented the APWA accreditation plaque by Regional Director Ramirez, PE, CPM, CFM.
Thank you, Susie, for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize, let me put on these readers here, sorry about that. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize the professional accomplishments of one of your departments during National Public Works Week. The American Public Works Association, or APWA, has over 32,000 members, and here in Texas, we have over 2,000 of those members represented. The accreditation through APWA is the mark of professionalism, indicating a public works agency has made the commitment to continuous improvement in the delivery of public works operations and services within the community it serves. Public works operations and services are specific to the needs of the community and vary across the nations. I wanted to thank your staff today, your Director of Public Works, Assistant Director of Public Works, and Susie for taking me around your great city and showing me all of the different accomplishments they have done in recent years. Operating under the jurisdiction and control of the City of Saginaw, your Public Works Department provides the residents with essential services dedicated to improving the community's quality of life by going the extra degree. As you know, your Public Works Department consists of environmental services, parks, planning and zoning, public services to include drainage, and water and wastewater. The people and purpose within the Public Works Department is what elevates your community above other Public Works departments. Your Fleet Maintenance Division manages all 195 assets, ensuring the reliability of vehicles and equipment while offering mobile and after-hours support. Your Parks Division maintains 7 parks spanning 112 acres, including playgrounds, trails, and ball fields. Your Public Services Department, which is divided into streets, building maintenance, and drainage, is responsible for city property upkeep, road maintenance, and flood prevention. Your Water and Wastewater Division ensures water quality, system maintenance, and compliance with all state regulations. The divisions and departments within your Public Works Department quietly make their presence known by collectively maintaining the city's infrastructure, safety, and public spaces at a higher standard. APWA accreditation recognizes agencies' policies, procedures, and practices, which have been evaluated against nationally recognized management practices determined to be appropriate for that specific agency. Again, no two agencies are exactly the same. Currently, there are only 221 accredited agencies in North America, 169 organizations, so some of those organizations have more than one department that qualify for accreditation. But here in Texas, we have 21 accredited agencies. In addition to Saginaw, there are 13 other entities here in North Central Texas who have achieved this accreditation. So basically, less than 2% of the cities and municipalities within the state of Texas have earned this accreditation, and you are one of them. APWA evaluators and industry professionals from other accredited agencies are chosen to conduct the evaluations. They are selected based on the services to be evaluated. An evaluation team consisting of experienced public work professionals from the states of Ohio, Utah, and Iowa reviewed 389 model practices to confirm your department's compliance with internationally recognized management practices applicable to your agency's operations and responsibilities. I am proud to report that your Public Works Department achieved a 100% rating and is in full compliance with all applicable practices. Not everybody who applies earns this accreditation, so this is definitely something special. Following the evaluation team's recommendations, the Accreditation Council for APWA granted full accreditation to the Saginaw Public Works Department. Congratulations to the entire Public Works Department, and nice work to your accreditation manager, Susie. As the current American Public Works Association board member representing Region 7, which is the states of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, it is my honor to present a plaque to your director, Randy Newsom, in recognition of this achievement. As he approaches, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the Saginaw's council members, the mayor, the city manager, and your city's management team for your proactive approach and unwavering support of the public works profession. Your leadership has directly resulted in high-quality infrastructure, an exceptional workforce, and a thriving community. You are truly on the right track, thanks to your commitment to excellence. And if we could have everybody who was instrumental in this come up to take a photo.
I just said, we have a VIP here tonight. Well, it's Lynn, but she brought her husband, so we appreciate it. And appreciate her getting you dressed up, too.
We might already get out of the picture.
All right, you need to say a few words, Mr. Newsom. What do you want to tell us? Come on. Well, thank some people publicly. Come on.
All right. So it took a big team, and it took us a long time to get this accomplished, but through the hard work, Dolph is one that was one of the beginners, him and Rick Trice both, and they worked a lot of hours on it. And Charles Wood, where'd he go? He came back for this. He worked many hours on it as well, so it was a big team effort to get this done, but we got it done, and we're proud of it.
When did we start this? How long ago did we start this?
During COVID.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
20
you drove two into retirement getting this, huh?
Yeah. That is correct.
Good job.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Dolph. Thank y'all. Great work. It is a big deal. We've been hearing about this for several years, and I'm real proud of y'all for bringing this across the goal line. Outstanding work, y'all. All right, and Dolph told me he was going to leave as soon as this was over because he was not going to sit through another council meeting. Thank y'all. Thanks for putting down the fishing pole and coming up. All right, item 3D, recognition of service, tenured planning and zoning commissioners. Susie Victor.
Mr. Mayor and Council, the City of Saginaw Planning and Zoning Division would like to recognize the service of the Planning and Zoning Commissioners Jason LeBrier and William Barngrover, whom have both retired from the positions with 10-plus years of service. Mr. LeBrier was appointed on June 7, 2011, and devoted 14 years of service to the city. Mr. Barngrover was appointed on June 3, 2014, and devoted 10 years of service to the city. During their tenure, Commissioners LeBrier and Barngrover have exemplified the very qualities that make great public services: integrity, vision, and an unwavering dedication to our community's best interest. Their leadership has been instrumental in shaping the growth and development of our city, ensuring that the city's planning and zoning decisions reflect the values, needs, and aspirations of our residents, while also promoting sustainable development and environmental stewardship. Commissioners LeBrier and Barngrover have shown a remarkable ability to navigate the challenges of urban planning, offering fresh perspectives, resolving conflicts, and maintaining a focus on long-term community goals. Their collective vision has influenced countless zoning decisions, development projects, and land use policies, that will continue to benefit the future generations in the community for years to come. As they retire from the Planning and Zoning Commission, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for their outstanding contributions, their passion for public service, and their unwavering commitment to the public good. Their influence extends far beyond the policies they've shaped. Through their leadership, they have all inspired all of us to think critically, act responsibly, and work together to build a community that serves the needs of all. Their combined efforts have left an indelible mark on the city, and their legacy of service will be felt for many years to come. We wish them both all the best in their future endeavors and extend our deepest gratitude for their years of exceptional service. They will be greatly missed by their colleagues, the city, and the community they serve so well. So with that being said, I would also like to invite the mayor up front so that we can deliver our certificates of recognition to both Mr. LeBrier and Mr. Barngrover, and I would just like to have everyone give them a round of applause for their tenure of service. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work, and we would just take a picture. Hide the camera.
Big thanks to those two gentlemen. Planning and zoning is a key and a vital part of our city. It's also sometimes a thankless job, and I appreciate them doing it for over a decade. It's very impressive, and the city owes them a debt of gratitude. Excellent work. 3E, recognition of Councilmember Valerie Dunderfield for 10 years. Has it been 10 years?
Yeah, it is.
Time flies, I cannot believe it. So 10 years ago, Valerie joined the council. Nobody is more passionate about the city of Saginaw than Valerie, period. Nobody is. Not me, not anybody. Nobody cares more than Valerie does. Nobody is a better person than Valerie. Valerie puts her whole heart and soul into everything she does, including the city. And we are honored to serve with you. We appreciate your service. We look forward to many more years, and we have a beautiful pin for you, suitable for framing or wearing or whatever. And congratulations, and thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, she's got to say a few words.
Well, I do love the city. It's always been my passion to help people in the city, the citizens and the employees all together. So thank you all for all the support. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Valerie.
And it's a picture.
You got to go out front, yeah.
Here, what, just, I'll scoot over by Todd. Let's stand up. Thank you.
All right, I don't want to cut anybody else. Any other council members want to say anything? Anybody else say anything about the recognition of Valerie? Anybody? Sure, go Sean.
Valerie, I want to really thank you because you were one of the people who I look up to, and part of the reason why I felt like I'm the kind of person that should run for council is because I have a heart for the citizens and a heart for people, and you show that every day. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much. The city owes you a debt of gratitude. We really do. It's for 10 years, a long time.
It is. I enjoyed it.
Time flies. All right, so thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Moving on, 4. 4A, consider action regarding appointment of council subcommittee for board appointments. So it's that time of year again. We always do boards in the spring. We are there at that time. In the recent past, we've had 3 council members sort of go off and do a lot of this on their own. I'm looking for volunteers that would like to do that again.
Mayor, think that we definitely need the newest member of council on.
Okay, so Paul and Sean, who else? One more, Brack? All right, there's the three.
Yes, sir.
That good? That's what we needed, right? We don't have to vote on that or anything, do we? No. All right. So we got Sean, Brack, Paul. Good luck, and we look forward to see what y'all bring back to council. All right, 4B, election of mayor pro tem. Vicki?
Thank you, Mayor. Each year following the election, the City Council must choose one of its members to serve as Mayor Pro Tem. You can elect to serve a new member or have the current member serve again, which is Mr. Paul Pelleggi. You would just need to make a motion or just vote, just like you did earlier, on who that would that be.
Okay. I will entertain motions. Mary?
I would like to nominate Paul Pelleggi.
Okay. Have any other nominations?
Mayor, I think we ought to make a change and, like every year, let another council member do it so they get to see what it's like to be Mayor Pro Tem and to help you out. So I would like to nominate Nick Lawson.
Okay. All right, so we have nominations for Nick and for Paul. Any other nominations? All right, so let's hold a vote. So all for Paul, let's raise your right hand. We don't have to vote. Raise your right hand for Paul. All right, for Nick. All right. Congratulations, Paul. Welcome back. Look forward to working with you, Paul. All right, 4C, consider action regarding authorization of the sale of $17.8 million in general obligation bonds. For that, Kim Quinn, Finance Director.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This item is to authorize our intent to sell the remaining $17.8 million, which is what's left of the voter authorized debt from the 2021 bond election. In your packet, you've got the tax rate impact analysis and the timeline, and we've got Mark McCliney here from SAMCO to answer any questions that you may have.
Mark, come on up. Introduce yourself. I don't think everybody's met you. You've been here a lot, but you haven't been here in a while.
Probably a year. My name is Mark McCliney. I'm with Samco Capital Markets. You've all seen Andrew Friedman, who is my partner. He's here also. Right now, because of all the things going on in the legislature, cities are rushing to borrow their money before the laws change. So he's at another meeting. My son, who's now working with us, is in another meeting. Ryan Cunningham is at another meeting. And I'm here in one of my favorite places and got a treat because of your VIP that you had here earlier. I hadn't seen Dolph in a while. The city staff has been working on this with Andrew and I on how to get this $17.8 million proceeding. You said, I think there's a timetable in the agenda. I'll just hand one out also. Today, we're really looking for just permission to proceed with that. A general obligation bond, as you know, has already been voted and approved by your citizens. With that approval, City Council has the ability to authorize that sale in the future. But no one likes to come in here and say, oh, by the way, here's $17.8 million, we're ready to go. Here's the interest rate, and we have to approve this. So what we're asking you today is to allow us to proceed to a sale. That sale is scheduled for July 15th. On that date, we'll come in with interest rates. And at that point, it'll be an ordinance authorizing the sale of the general obligation bonds. When we started this process in 2021, we thought that the total tax rate increase required to cover all of the bonds was going to be about 13.5 cents. It looks like all of the bonds will be sold for less than 4 cents, 3.5 cents plus or minus. So we're able to capture everything much more efficiently and effectively than what we projected to the voters. And that's something,
Mark, say that again. That's really, really important.
when we started out in 2021 to authorize the sale of the large bond issue that included the library, the streets, the rec center, several others, senior center, we said that it was going to take 13.5 cents on the tax rate to sell all of those obligations. We're going to be able to sell all of those obligations at about 3.5 cents. So quite a bit less than what we were projecting. And the voters approved it at 13.5 cents. It's okay, we like all these projects, we understand it's going to cost us but we're going to be able to get it done dramatically less. Lower interest rates, better projects, better timing, better management through the process, was able to spread it out, and the benefit is to the citizens. And one of the things that I know we're always driven from staff is when you say the promise, beat it. And that was something that has been drilled into us since we started this bond project, and I think we're going to be able to easily deliver that, which gives you all the opportunity to say, we got this done much cheaper than what we were planning, and so that's going to be great. We don't know what the interest rates are yet. We're projecting right now 4.5%. We expect to beat that. We won't know until July 20th or until July 15th. Interest rates have fluctuated some. The market has fluctuated quite a bit with some of the things that are going on in Washington, D.C., but it looks like things have calmed down, but we won't know until that date. Regardless, it's going to be your bonds remain in high demand because your finances are in such fine shape. So we're not going to have problems with the sale. It should just move forward very smoothly. And again, tax rate much lower than what we ever anticipated back when we had the bond election.
You talk about our bond rating and what it is and what that means?
Your bond rating is AA. The best possible rating is AAA. Moody's, just this past week, or last Friday, downgraded the federal government from AAA to AA1 or AA+. So we are one notch, and the ratings go AAA, AA+, AA, which is what we are, AA-, then A+, A-, triple B, and it just keeps going down, plus, regular, and minus. So we are now one notch below the federal government on credit quality, and we don't have the ability to print money. So investors look at us and say they manage their budget, they routinely leave money in, meaning they add to fund balance each year, they run and get AWPA certification, meaning they manage their assets. And so it's those type things that are feathers in our cap and drive down the interest rate, because if you are at a A-rated versus the AA rated, investors are going to demand a higher interest rate because there's more risk. So you're at a point that it's almost no risk. There's always risk, but when investors not just in Saginaw are purchasing, or just in Texas, they're mutual funds, there's groups out of New York, out of Chicago, they're looking deep into cities' audits, their policies, and making decisions to tie their money up for as much as 20 years. So when you maintain and keep that AA rating, it really puts you on par with the federal government, believe it or not, but nearly risk-free, which risk-free means lower interest rate. And Mayor, that's what you're talking about. You know, that's the benefit of getting and maintaining that high rating.
All good news, Mark. Very good news. Any questions for Mark? So to reiterate, this was left over from the 2021 bond. Voters approved this in 2021 that we could spend this money. This is just the final step toward that. 4.5 interest rate is a very good number. I'm pleased to hear that based on all things we know. And I appreciate Mark giving us a good summary. Anything else on this? Kim, anything else you need to add to this?
No, sir, just to remind you that the 4.5 is a conservative estimate. We will know in July for sure the interest rate.
Gotcha, okay.
That's when we would hear back, is sometime after, between July 15th, July 20th.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
So that's when we'd hear back and get a lockdown on the,
On July 15th, when we come in with an ordinance, we will actually have the interest rate. And the way investors do it, because markets fluctuate so much from day to day, it's good until your council meeting.
Okay.
If the council doesn't approve it, that interest rate's gone. Yeah. Now, you're not committed to it. If all of a sudden, because of Lehman Brothers collapsed back in the financial. We had a bond sale on Monday after Bear Stearns or Lehman went broke over the weekend, and we were expecting 5% interest rates, and we got 9 and 10. We just rejected all bids. You have that ability. You're not committed with this. It's just giving us permission to go forward. We come in with interest rates. That's when you make the decision.
Because we have a council meeting on July 15th, so Mark will come to us then with that, the final number, and we'll vote on that and actually approve the actual real sale. So nothing is sold until we make that call. That
decision.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mark or for Kim? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve 4C as presented.
I'll second.
Dollar second. Please cast your votes. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kim. Great news. Let's move forward. Very good financial news. All right, 4D, consider action regarding adopt the resolution of the City Council to direct publication of notice intention to issue combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation and other matters resolving to this subject. Kim Quinn, Finance Director.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As you recall, during the budget process last summer, we talked about some projects in the water wastewater department that we were planning on issuing debt for, $5 million to be exact. When we do this at the same time that we're issuing the general obligation debt, we have some economies of scales, right? We're doing rating agency calls, we're preparing the documents, and so it just makes sense to do it at the same time. So there's a little bit different process in that we've got to advertise to the public. And so this is just you all authorizing us to proceed with that process. Again, you're not authorizing the actual debt until July 15th, but this will start the process of issuing the $5 million to be paid with water and sewer rates.
Questions for Kim? Oh, yeah, go ahead, please.
So $379,100 over 20 years. Do we ever have an occasion to pay that sooner? Or is it standard?
When we sell bonds, we put in a call feature. That call allows you, at your option, at the city council's option, to take them away from the investor. But it takes about 9 years before we can get to that call date. So the reason for being at 9 years, it's not a higher interest rate. If we said we wanted to call them away from the investor in 3 years or 5 years, the investors are going to say, well, we need more interest because they're going to take them from us. So what we do is we found kind of, and it wasn't me finding it, it's been years and years in the industry, they found where the happy median was, where it's free to call them without a penalty, and it's about it'll be 9 years to 10 years from the time you sell those bonds, certificates of obligations. And you can pay them off from the back end. If you had extra cash, you can just pay them off and the interest goes away.
Other questions? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve item 4D as published.
Okay. Brack, second. Motion passes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you coming over. All right, item 4E, discussion regarding warehouse development on Spring Hollow Drive. Mr. Nathan Goldberg.
Thank you guys for hearing us again. So last time I was here, we requested a video, right? I got that video. I watched that video. At 29 minutes in, I don't know if you guys all got a chance to watch the video from September 20th, 2022. At 29 minutes in, Gabe interjected and said that the plats were zoned light industrial and that there was no need to vote because you had to approve it, right? Why would you have to have a vote if you had to approve it already? That is my question. I mean, if you guys didn't get to watch the video, I have the transcript here of the 29 minutes into that video. you know, why would we have a vote for a plat and Gabe basically telling you that it's zoned light industrial, which is, one property is where they're building the building, the other property, community commercial. Why would you have to have a vote if both properties were zoned light industrial, like Gabe stated in the video?
So your question is, we did not take a vote, right? Because it was already light industrial. Is that your question?
You
Why did
didn't
we-
take a vote in that video.
Your question is why we did?
Why would you have to vote on something that, if he's telling you that you have to approve it, why would you have to take a vote?
If I'm not badly mistaken, we were voting on the plat.
Right, so in the last legislative session, they changed it so that plats could be approved by staff. But prior to that, the legislature, the state legislature, required by law that you vote on things that are ministerial, which means if they meet the requirements, you're required to vote yes and approve them. It's totally arbitrary, but that's not the city's purview to say we don't want to do it. That's the votes that
Okay.
Now, I haven't watched this, but Brent, correct me, well, most times when we voted on plats, you would actually tell us that. And you'd also warn us that if we didn't vote yay on the plat, not only would the city could be sued, but also we could be sued personally. And
it's ridiculous.
Right, yeah, so that's the answer why we voted, because the state required us to.
Right.
And the reason we voted yes is because we were told if we didn't, we'd get sued.
Why would, I mean, I
That's a
guess the
state
question
thing. I'll
is,
let Brent
and
answer
I'm,
that, but
I'm
that's-
not a lawyer by any means,
Yeah.
but why would you get sued? And why would you have to, why would they tell you you have to vote if you had to say yes anyways? Where would the requirement be to have to vote?
I would recommend you contact your local state representative.
Okay. I
So
can
it's,
do that.
it's state law is basically the answer.
Right.
But they did, for Brent, they have changed that now, so that's.
So they've changed it now so that staff
Yeah.
it can be delegated to staff, but staff also has to approve it if it meets
That's right.
the requirements of the subdivision ordinance.
Okay.
That remains to be state law.
Right,
to
but
this
it,
day.
I mean, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the reason why we would have to vote yes on that is if they submitted a plat and it meets all the requirements, there's not a reason for us to say no. And so if we would say no on that, then,
Right,
legally-
well, the plat would meet all the requirements if it was all zoned light industrial. It is not all zoned light industrial. It is zoned community commercial on one plat and light industrial on the other plat. To build the building, no problem. That's where the building's being built, is on light industrial. It's the use of the community commercial, right? And the idea that he presented that both of those properties were zoned light
Well,
industrial.
and I think Brent explained the usage of driving. You can drive over your own land, right? Can
Yeah.
you explain it better?
Regretfully, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I don't know. My review is, and my conclusion is that using land as a driveway is not a land use. But I certainly understand that the folks in this community disagree with that legal
So
opinion.
in your own verbiage there, right, you just said use, the use of driving on it, right?
I can't argue with you.
Well, I mean, in legal terms, use is use, right? You're using it for heavy freight to drive across to a light industrial zone, using a residential, what was zoned as a residential road, now converting it to a light industrial road, right? Where was the vote on that?
Again, you heard Brent's answer. That's his legal opinion, so that's our legal opinion. That's how the law is, so we can't change that.
I mean, I can tell you, I'm not a lawyer, just like you said you were.
Right.
So anytime it comes to a legal dilemma like this, I immediately look at that gentleman over there. That's what the city pays him for. That's what he went to school for. That's what the state of Texas certified him to do. So I have to, me as a council member.
Right.
I have to go with what he says. And he says that that is perfectly right to put that road across. I'm not gonna argue with you.
Well, if you're changing, so to change the community commercial property to a light industrial, which is essentially what you did without voting on it. Then you take a residential road and you convert that to a light industrial road for half of it anyways, right? Don't the people that live on that road get a vote on that? Shouldn't they have had a vote to make a decision that you're converting a road that's zoned residential, right? In the zoning map, that road is in the residential area. So now you're converting it to a light industrial road.
And again, I'd caution you, be careful. You're not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so please don't give legal advice.
I'm not giving legal advice. I'm saying,
The residents are listening to you as this legal advice, so be careful, please. You're not a lawyer, so don't purport yourself as one.
where's the city's care for the people?
Well, it's my understanding that the developer has reached out to the neighboring lot, and
Right.
they're in negotiations, or they're talking about this. So until that's done,
I'm not here to badmouth the developer, right?
he's
I'm
trying
here
to help you guys. and
I
come
know
up
he
with a
is.
solution.
I know he is, and I appreciate that, right? The problem is still, if he doesn't get that land, we still get screwed, right?
Within the bounds of what we're allowed to do, talking to
And
our
then-
legal counsel.
And then on top of that, the two traffic studies, right? Both done at times when school were not in session, right? But increase to 141% of traffic on top of the traffic that's already there. 580 visits through Spring Hollow in a day due to that traffic being increased. 580 visits just to the Falcon property. Not the residents that live there and travel that road. That's just the Falcon property, 580 visits in and out. And that's during off-peak, no school. Right? So that's gonna be a problem. You're gonna see a massive backup. Right? I don't think the city took that into account. And I don't think they're prepared for that.
As Paul mentioned, we've reached out to the developer, and I've asked city manager to reach out to the developer and see what we can do to sweeten that deal, to see that it happens, that he goes through the other property and not through there. So we're trying.
Oh, no,
We're trying, we can.
and I appreciate that.
And I can't guarantee what's gonna happen, but we're gonna try. We don't own the land, but I asked city manager to reach out to them and see what we can do as a city to help make that happen. So,
Okay.
We've also discussed in the meeting that we had about possibly installing 2 traffic lights, which I think will help you guys a bunch with, the concern of getting emergency vehicles in there when people are blocking the roadway. Well, once there's an intersection there, they're not supposed to be blocking the intersection.
Right.
So Randy, when we did, I'm sorry, our gentleman beside me's not here today, so didn't know to be here, but this traffic study, my understanding that they took into allowances the estimated number of trucks coming and going when they did the traffic study, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And they considered the max when they did.
Yeah, they actually figured, they estimated worst case.
Right.
So
For just the trucks, not the employees that work there or the residents that are traveling.
Residents that are what?
That travel that road, the residents from our neighborhood that travel up and down that road.
Yeah, but you all did an actual traffic study, then on top of the traffic study, you did an worst-case estimation of what that building.
Worst case scenario, but
Yeah.
again, this is a spec warehouse, so there's really not any definite number of what, you don't even know what's gonna go in there.
Yeah.
So, but they went worst case scenario.
Well, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that, that video, right? And, basically, you guys were misled, and I don't know how long that went.
Well, what were we misled about? Because the road getting put through, whether it was, grant you, there may have been a misquote. I have to go back, it's been over a year, that misquote on that. But our legal representative said, basically, that doesn't matter, they're allowed to put a road across through there and use it as, I don't know.
I'll do my research, because there are
Yeah.
cases that show that they're not, and that those cases have been won, so.
Okay, well, but I would highly recommend, you know me, you can send us, show us those. We can send them to our law department, that he would have him look at them.
I will bring those
and
to you.
Say it. Absolutely. That's
I'll bring them to you.
cool.
All right, also, I have a request to speak from Mr. Alexander, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce, Calais? Costat, I'm sorry. I couldn't read your writing, so I apologize.
That's pretty bad. Well, Mayor, City Council, thank you for your time again. We see a lot of each other recently, but hopefully we can get to the bottom of that. So I just want to say, as the HOA president, I've been talking a lot with the developer, and they are working and trying to help as much as they can. So that's great. This being said, we did watch the video of the previous meeting when the plat was approved. And we're not trying to be lawyers, we're just concerned based on what we heard. That's all it is. We just have to ask questions because as citizens we're concerned. It was said by your city manager that everything was zone light industrial and that you had to approve the project. That was one concern we had. And I have a transcript of the whole video if you want to right here. It's pretty lengthy. The second thing was that your city manager told you you had to approve the project, which goes into what you said. After doing some research online, I'm not a lawyer, but it shows that multiple cities in Texas says that the city council can either approve with conditions, or refuse the plat and then look at it again. So I'm just wondering why in Saginaw we do not do that, sorry. The other thing I was troubled by, an engineer, Matt Backey, ran both traffic analysis, one in 2021, one in 2024. So the meeting was in 2022. When he was asked about the traffic analysis by City Council Cindy Bighorse, he was telling you guys that it was low. We looked at it again, and it's an increase of over 141% during peak hours. He did not have the traffic analysis with him when you asked about it, and you were kind of forced into making a motion. So I just wonder why you were not able to look at it that one day, and what happened there. So I guess my two questions are, in the city of Saginaw, do you guys have to approve a plat? Or can you approve with conditions, or can you deny it? And then the other question is, when you ask to see documentation or ask questions, why are the city council members politely asked to move on?
Bryn, you want to answer part of that?
I can answer the first one.
Sure.
I don't know.
And if you want to read it, I'm more than happy to give you copies. I made a few of all the transcripts.
So under Texas law, cities are allowed to conditionally approve or deny a plat. If you do either of those two things, it triggers a letter requirement that the city issued to the developer, and you have to cite the exact language, section, chapter, and verse of the subdivision ordinance that they are in violation of, not compliant with. If you don't do that, that's an improper conditional approval and an improper denial. And under Texas law, failure to lawfully deny a plat within 30 days renders the plat approved automatically by operation of law.
May I speak again?
Did
Yes,
you get?
I understood it. And if I may, so if the city council was asking for more information about zoning, and they were told that everything was zone light industrial, when it was not the case, two tracks, one was community care, the other one light industrial, and then they asked for a traffic analysis, and they were not presented with it, would that be enough to not approve the plat, since they have reasons behind it?
So the reasons have to be substantiated in the subdivision ordinance. So if council asks for, you got to buy me flowers or I'm not going to approve this plat, if it meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, they're still required to approve it within 30 days. You can't attach conditions or say, I don't have enough information here in order to act on this. Now, I wasn't a party to the staff review. Staff's conclusion at the time, I assume, was that it did meet all the requirements of the subdivision.
All but one member. One member was against it.
Okay. Again, staff, the professional staff presumably concluded that it met the requirements of the subdivision. I mean, I may have shared this story with you before. The city of Dallas, in the Cinemark Theaters case, it was a plat, and the public came out in large numbers and opposed the approval of the plat. The city attorney went back into executive session and advised the council members that they had a legal obligation to approve it because of this ridiculous charade show that the legislature required you to go through. They came out of closed session, voted to deny the plat. One of the members of council told the developer that the city attorney had told them that they had a legal requirement to approve the plat. The developer sued each of the members of the council personally, was able to demonstrate that their vote was done in bad faith because it was done contrary to legal advice and what the law required, and they all got tagged. And the city attorney, because the attorney-client privilege was waived, the city attorney was put on the stand and forced to testify that indeed she had told council that they had to approve it, and they disregarded the advice.
So it looks to me like, I mean, things happened in the past and it is what it is, but moving forward, what can we do if, in that case, we definitely had two different tracks zoned different ways. The city manager and the commission said that everything was done one way, which was light industrial, but it's not accurate. How can we solve that in the future so that does not keep happening in Saginaw?
I mean, we're really talking about fixing the blame, but I'd rather prefer to fix the problem, which is I think what you want.
Exactly my point.
We can fix the blame, and you can blame and point fingers if that makes you feel better, but I'd rather fix the problem. That's really what our job is, and that's all we can do today is fix the problem.
And that's
Try to
exactly
fix
what
the
my
problem.
point was. What can we do moving forward? Because I understand things happen.
My thing is, I'm hearing, if I correct that, there's been two allegations of mistakes. One that we stated that the zoning was different, and I've heard from the lawyer that it doesn't matter. That, and he's researched. Now, you said that you've got other data, bring it to us. The second one is, it seems like you have a concern with the, either the voting or something with the traffic study.
Yes, so one council member asked about the traffic analysis because.
Yeah, and you said that was Cindy Bickers.
Yes, and you were concerned about it too, and you made great points, by the way,
Right.
which was great. But you were told that the traffic analysis was very low and that you didn't have to worry about it.
Right.
And you were never presented with numbers. If I show you the numbers, 586 vehicles extra on Spring Hollow, would you call that low on a residential street where you can fit 2 cars? Knowing that the trucks will have to use both lanes to turn in and out.
Yeah. So I'll tell you exactly how I would do that if I had the traffic study now, is I would look over at Randy Newsom and we would have our engineer firm here, and they would have to tell me whether or not this increase would impact the plat or not. Because again, I have to depend on
No,
them.
that makes
So,
sense.
if you say that it's more than what it was, even if now that's enough to think, I would have to, go back and say, does that change? Is there enough error within it to affect the overall outcome? Because you always have, when you deal with things, error in a certain amount, plus or minus, whatever. So to me, that would be back, I would ask Randy, I would then ask our law firm to review it and see if the error within that, if there is error in there, if that's enough to overall make anything bad.
Part of the problem too, once again, because the legislature, not you
Yeah,
all,
right.
is you could have a rogue employee give you incorrect information. What state law says in Chapter 212 of the Local Government Code is a plat that is not denied within 30 days is approved by operation of law. And there are no exceptions
Right.
for fraud, incompetence,
Right.
misleading statements. And so at this point, and I'll let Randy weigh in, but we're at the permitting phase. There really isn't, they're not coming back before council for you all to tell them they've got to do something different. So unless there's a fire code issue or something,
I mean, so for us, when you see it, and people say, well, don't council care, we very much care. The problem is.
I did not say that.
Yeah, I know, I
Oh,
just said
okay.
in general, and we talk, but the thing is a lot of this stuff we're not experts in. And so we have to ask, what can we do? And that we have, well, okay, what can we do to resolve this? And part of it is, some of the people in that community said, well, what if they use this other route? And we've pushed to get that, like the mayor said, he said, hey, let's do whatever we can do on our side, offer up to help facilitate that exchange or the buy of that land, things like that, to put that entrance on that other side to try to help.
And as we mentioned before in that other meeting, adding the traffic lights, putting in the monument sign so that deters traffic, truck traffic from going in there. If we end up getting the other land in that driveway, they have a separate driveway, then that's really not gonna be an issue anymore. But until we get another meeting with the developer and get that figured out, there's really nothing more that we can do at this point.
And that was my point, was also to make sure that in the future, maybe we want to be a little more careful about things and the way it's being reviewed before it gets in front of y'all. So you maybe have access to information, but the developer has been doing a great job at reaching out to us, and we know they are working really hard at moving the entrance. We haven't heard back from the city, and that's kind of concerning for us since that last meeting, that first meeting we had. It's good to hear from you now, Paul. That's very reassuring as well, so I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cosette.
I had a
Oh, sorry, Sean,
Oh,
go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. Just to your point of what we could do in the future, I'd have to ask Bryn, but it sounds like that there's an opportunity for maybe some language in the ordinance regarding maybe an increase in percentage from traffic study and impact a specific number. I mean, is there a threshold that we could put in there that would fix?
So I think if it's based on some rational formula, then yes. And so I defer to Kimley Horn to really tell us.
Right.
Because they just have to, they would have to be objective standards and not subjective. But to your point, yes. I mean, if we have objective standards and we say traffic impact analysis is required, here is the calculation process and the methodology required to use, and what you're required to account for, then yes.
And could we make that specific to like light industrial versus residential versus?
You could, yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
So that would be something that we could look at in the future.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cosette. I also have a request from Mr. Guerrero to speak as well. Thanks, Mark. I am, you're right, I'm sorry. You're right.
Good evening. So I appreciate Mr. Morrison addressing some of the issue, and hopefully we can actually move forward. I know we're talking about we can't fix what happened then, but I'd like to hear more about what can we do from now on. What kind of commitment can we have from the city council? Because it seems like city council needs to be all in on this, or it's not going to happen, right? I mean, one person can't change everything. My question is, does anyone on the council agree that this decision could have been handled better at some point before we got here?
I agree that, but we're going to have to go back 20 years, okay?
Sure.
20 years ago, and you guys, some of y'all probably ain't gonna like this, I'll just state it because I've said it. 20 years ago, that subdivision you live in should have never been built.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so that
fine.
absolutely, if I could go back 20 years ago and know it, and if I was on council, I would absolutely not vote for that subdivision to be built.
Well, and my question is, given all the things that we know, the traffic being extremely horrible, I don't think anyone likes that traffic already. It's going to be much worse. The roads are already broken. That's another tangent that I wish we could approach is, can we do concrete? Because it breaks every time it's fixed, and it seems like we're putting a Band-Aid over something that's just constant issue. I mean,
That's being addressed as part of the bond that we approved tonight.
concrete or asphalt?
Concrete.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. But I feel like we're glossing over, like actually coming together, or you guys coming together and looking at this and saying, you know, hindsight, this wasn't a good decision for the citizens. Once that was built, then at that point, maybe there can be some ordinances, something that's changed that looks more into things than just kind of a rubber stamping something, right, per se. And lack of better words for that. Because we're losing quality of life. We're losing family home values. This isn't a rental home for me. This is my home. I was planning to keep it forever, and maybe I will, I don't know. And hopefully the builder is able to do what he works some magic and gets this solved for us. If there's anything you guys can help with that, we would greatly appreciate it. But as I mentioned last meeting, and I handed out that the flyer, I'm losing $61,000 in value already, and that's without the 18-wheelers being on the roadway yet. She said, come back if you can prove there's 18-wheelers on your road. So 61,000 plus. Another gentleman that had spoken said he's lost 100,000 because his house is more valuable than mine. So we're looking at $13 to $20 million in total home value out of 218 residences. I mean, that's not something small. And so that's why I implore you guys to reevaluate maybe some of the process and what can be done so this doesn't happen again, because it's not fair. There's no one that could say that this is fair for me or any other resident here. And the other thing I'll ask is, I know that's something that you can't go back on, but now that we're losing, what is our remedy? How do we, city manager or city attorney talked about, a builder somewhere else suing the city and the city council. Well, what's our remedy? We're missing $13 to $20 million. Who's gonna help us with that? Is there any remedy for us?
I mean, the thing about it is where your subdivision is built, it's pretty, that area that the building thing, that's been zoned that way since before your neighborhood was built.
Right.
And so the owner of that property, he didn't come to us and ask us to rezone it. Definitely not while I've been on council for the last 4 years. And so Texas has very strong rights for people, people who own land, your personal property.
Yep.
So since that was zoned that way, he's allowed to build whatever valley of that zoning is. And the council can't go against it. Even if we had voted against it, from my understanding, talking to our legal team, they would just go to the state would override us, and then they could then sue us for damages. So when you say that, it's like, when we hear that, we go with that because we're told that's what has to happen. So within your neighborhood, I don't know what we could do. And even if they're building a thing, and even if it is driving your price down, the developer who built your neighborhood knew that going in. He knew that he was building a neighborhood surrounded by, those type of buildings.
Yep.
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting, but I can add that. I mean, if that was a material fact that was not disclosed at the time of the sale of the house, the lawsuit and recourse is against the developer who sold the houses. If they concealed a material fact from the buyer.
Right.
Now, that's something that they'd have to explore with the lawyer, but you're required to disclose things. Like, for instance, if someone dies in your house, you're required to disclose that before you sell it. And so if this was a material fact that was withheld, then the developer may have liability. And I will also say, 20 years ago, you did not have a planning department or any planners. And I love Nan to death, but she was very conservative with spending money. And when Gabe came on board, I told him, you need a planner. You can't have the public work, and the public works department is great, so this is not a knock on the public works department, but that's not what they do. That's not what they should be doing. So you had things processed by non-planners. So in terms of what can we do going forward in the future, I think Gabe's hiring of planning staff, including the planning consultant in Abra, is the way to think about these things, so you get an understanding of, this is really bizarre planning. I mean, why would you have an industrial area zoned industrial right next to residential. Because I agree, that makes no sense.
Right.
But that's not my purview to say anything.
Right.
And the Public Works Department is not thinking about urban planning. They're
Yeah.
thinking about whether things are built safely.
So I can tell you, what are we doing in the future? We have looked at our zoning, we've made zoning changes. And I can tell you that they have brought to us plots that they have requested to rezone, to say this really doesn't fit within what Saginaw needs. So they've made that, our planning committees have looked at that and done it. But even with that being said, I think it was last year, they came to us with some recommendations to change some areas that didn't really match. The owner of that property contested that, and it got pulled. I don't think it ever got rezoned, because the problem is you get tied up because, and by the way, I agree with landowners having lots of rights, okay?
Sure,
I don't think that people should be come in and be able to tell me what I do with my land within reason. But we had to pull that. So we are doing everything within our legal authority that the state or government allows us to do, big brother, big sister.
Sure.
We are trying to do and correct those things.
I appreciate that. I guess my last request is it possible, is anyone from the city or city council contacting the builder to help him, maybe nudge him forward? I don't, as of last meeting, I don't know, has anybody talked to him since last meeting, or even the meeting before?
You mean the developer?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
The
yes.
Falcon developer
Yes.
folks? Okay. Has anybody reached out to them recently? Randy?
Yeah, I believe Susie's, Susie, there she is.
Yes, hello, sorry, don't have mic. Yes, so I spoke to Mr. Walker last week, and he followed up. I spoke to him originally on Monday. He followed up with me that Thursday because they were scheduled to do a walkthrough with the adjacent property owner, and he did say that he was in constant conversations with the HOA president, Mr. Alex, and he actually followed up once more this week, and as of this week, he did say that they are interested in potentially doing a land swap. However, they still need a little bit further details in regards to some of the information. The property was staked out, but they still needed some formal numbers. With that being said, though, there is a hierarchy in their company as well, so they do have to reach out to them, and I asked him for possibly a timeline of how long that would take, and he doesn't 100% know. He did ask the people that he was coordinating with, and they also don't know. So right now, it would just be a waiting game. But we have talked since then, since the email that we sent on May 7th with the follow-up email that was also sent to the city council. We have been in coordination with them, and so we're not trying to set anything up until they had a little bit further concrete information with that adjacent property owner. So it sounds like they're headed towards that. And I actually, the first conversation I had with them, they said that the property owner adjacent to them did not like the land swap idea at first, and so they had rejected their offer. But the developer actually consisted and took it back to them with some changes, and then that is what made them want to continue the conversation. So they are trying on their end, so I would add that. But like I said, that was as of yesterday or the day before yesterday, so that's the latest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you for following up on it.
Who would we follow up with regarding the city?
Susie, I guess. Susie Victor.
Okay. Do you have an email or?
Yeah. I don't think you're in.
I don't know.
I think it was just Mr. Goldberg and.
You guys got it? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we are, no other items. We are in executive session. So pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, we will be in executive session as of 7:20. It was so hot during the meeting, and now it's cool. I know. All right, everybody back?
It's because all the hot air is going.
Yeah. At 7:56, we're back in regular session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Paul, Valerie.
It's unanimous.
I'm not letting me vote. Ah, I voted, okay. At 7:57, we're adjourned. Thank y'all.